Hey everyone, it's Peter David Gustafson, and today's video is going to be a quick case study on one of the most cutthroat, highly competitive industries, which is hosting, specifically VPS hosting. And we had Rackspace is always up there pretty high. So you have your paid ads up here. And then, of course, Wikipedia is going to rank high. GoDaddy, of course. A2, then HostGator, DreamHost. It's actually in Rackspace, which is a powerhouse if you can afford them. Number 6, I think. And, over 5 million search results. It's super competitive. I mean, let's face it, everybody needs hosting, especially VPS. I switched over myself almost a year ago to a VPS hosting, and very, very thrilled. I use myhosting.com if you're interested. And it's really, it's not that much more, but you get like, a gazillion times more for your dollar. So I was just looking through some old rankings, and I ran across a client that I had consulted with for a while back, gosh, in 2012, I think. And what is it? VPSland, I think is the URL. Yeah. Excuse me. Yeah, here we go. And they do a lot with Forex, VPS hosting, and Windows. But when we got together, I think it was in, I have to even look up. But VPS hosting was really the granddaddy of all keywords for them. And we spent some time together. Gosh, I think it was like maybe 6 months, if that, which isn't really a long time in SEO. And this is really the focus of this video is, how much time do you put into SEO? Because there's so many people out there that do SEO, and the old school was just, you buy a ton of spam backlinks and then hope and pray that it works. And for a long time it did. You could just go out and buy a ton of spam backlinks and you could rank. And these guys were the ones that had done that previously, but we kind of flipped things upside down and looked at it more as a Google relevancy standard than just backlinks. So let's pull up their rankings. Okay. Oh, here they are. It's been a while, but I was just dipping in to some of their rankings. Yeah, so it was back in January. I think we started talking in January of 2012. And, if you look at the keyword phrase VPS hosting, and pull up their searches per month, VPS hosting, and if we go down, oops, it gets on average about 8,100 exact searches a month, which is, it's a monster keyword to try and rank for. If you look here, cost per click is $23.11 a click. So that's a lot of money just for a click. So when we started working on their account, we kind of optimized things for Google relevancy standards only for, we had some other keywords you can see here, Windows VPS, Linux VPS, cloud server, but VPS hosting was really the granddaddy of them all. And you can see right here that we had, let's see here, we had them at about 100 in the high 80s and 90s. Let's see here. No, that's where they ended up. That's right. Oh, I lied. Okay, we had them right here at about 86 when we came together. And we did a lot of pre-work. So like you'll see 716s a day. But we had done a lot of changes to their content for Google relevancy standards and for keyword densities. And then we caught a pretty good break with 34, and then we danced around, up and down. And then we started to grab some page 3 and 4, you know, up here. And this is really the point of the video is, you know, when do you pull the plug? Obviously, you pull the plug if you can't afford to stay in SEO land and invest for the long term, which really is what I do with my clients. If you don't have a monthly budget, then you're kind of out of luck. So we had page 3s, and then we started to creep into like page 2 on Google, and then they pulled the plug right around here. I think it was like 36, right around November is when they pulled the plug. And, you know, we had some good traction. But then things started to go south. As you can see, we're still on page 3, page 2. We hung on to page 3, or they hung on to page 3. And then back to page 2. But all of a sudden, you know, the Google algorithms are updated pretty regularly. And then they took in December, they took a 38 position drop. And then recovered, you know, right back up 41, but then back to 62, up 26. Then they clung to 74 for a while. And then in the 80s and 90s for a long time. And really, this is a pretty good tale. This spreadsheet, or this listing by rank by, you know, day or by check date rather, really tells a good story, because you're only as good as your content is optimized, is what I've found. And really what we do a lot with our clients is monitor these rankings on a daily basis and then adjust content, you know, accordingly. So if you go back down to like even into October, you know, we had major content changes right around here. We caught a 4-position jump. Then we had a 57 position jump. Then no change. Then no change. Then a 7. Then down 2. You know, and that was really the end of the relationship. You'll notice October down, no change, down, down. But then a recovery, you know, and that's pretty common to see a recovery after a couple of clicks down. But it's really more about the trend. You know, trends can be your biggest friend, and I always ask, is it a blip or a trend? You know, these 2s and 3s up and down, or the 7 up is just a blip. But when you start seeing trends that are going consistently down, you got a major problem. You know, down 1, down 9, down 1, down 2, down 1, down 2. Typically that indicates that your content isn't as fresh as it should be, and it's just not optimized correctly. And again, it's based on the recent Google optimization that, you know, comes out with the algorithms that they launch. I mean, they're doing like upwards of 400 to 500 a year, just minor tweaks to their algorithms. And then, you know, they had a 38 drop, which is pretty hard to recover. Then a 2, then a 3 up. Bounce again, you know, up to 25, but then the tumble continues. And these big jumps typically means that your content isn't as relevant compared to your competition. So then we have a 37, you know, we gave away pretty much almost all that 41. Then we get a 36, but now we take a, you know, or they take a 74 drop, which is, you know, pretty much down to 100 on the top 100 in Google. And then, you know, 15 up, but then more downs. You know, you get 3 down, and you have a few ups, but then you give it all back. You know, those kind of massive changes and ranking changes are indicative of your content not being updated regularly enough, and then Google just looking at you and saying, well, you know, if you're in the set it and forget it mentality, your goose is cooked. You will never rank, because, you know, Google wants a lot of things. They want highly optimized, relevant content for the keyword, you know, VPS hosting, and then they want updated content. You know, if you just put a amount of text on your site, and then just leave and then think you're going to be relevant to Google, it's just so far from the truth. It's not even funny. I mean, this content now, you know, we had a lot of content here, including video, and now the content, you know, for whatever reason, is limited in relevancy. It's, you know, looking at about 60 or 70 words of text, no video. Just another, you know, I hate to say it, but just another wires and computer screen gadget hosting company stuff that no one really even, you know, we all look at hosting from time to time. You know, as I mentioned last year, I moved over to myhosting.com, and you know, one of the reasons I moved over to them is they had rich content, they had extremely fast customer service, both text, email, and phone. But, you know, really, it boils down to relevancy. If you're not relevant and you don't stay at it, that's my point. If you don't stay at it, then you're going to suffer, you know, these kind of drops, these ups and downs. You get a 14 up, and then, you know, 2 down, 13 down. You go back 3 up. When you see those kind of massive jumps, you know, and here's another one, you know, 15 up but 74 down the day before. 36, 37. That means that Google's looking at the content and then adjusting your rankings based on, you know, is the content fresh and relevant? What is your competition doing? Because, you know, a big part of what you want to be looking at is how invested is SEO, or in SEO, is your competition. Now, I'm not an advocate of go out and waste weeks and weeks evaluating what your competition is doing. Instead, you should focus on your keyword and relevancy standards, and then update your content regularly. If you can do those things and then toss in video, you will notice a major jump. Now, often the question comes up, well, what about Yahoo and Bing? Well, as you can see, Yahoo and Bing are just, they're in the kiddie pool. They'll always be in the shallow end because their algorithms are more based on, you know, keyword density. How many backlinks? Boom. You know, you can rank pretty well on Yahoo and Bing with the set it and forget it mentality, but Google is a whole different beast, and that's really the only game in town. You know, with these days traffic being pulled from Google is upwards of, you know, somewhere in the 60 to 65% of all search traffic is Google. So, you know, you can do well in Yahoo and Bing, but you need a couple of different first or second page positions with good conversion click-throughs to really do any damage to get traffic on Yahoo and Bing. So, well, thanks for watching. We'll have more case studies coming up. Take care.